Have you ever noticed that the way you spend your morning often decides how the rest of your day unfolds? Imagine waking up not just to start the day, but to actually discover more about yourself every single morning. Most people wake up, rush through, check their phones, and before they know it, the day is gone, and they've learned nothing new about who they really are. But here's the truth: your mornings are your most powerful opportunity to connect with yourself, to find clarity, and to grow. The first thing you can do when you open your eyes is resist reaching for your phone. Instead, just breathe. Take 30 seconds to be aware of your thoughts and feelings. That tiny pause tells you more about your inner world than scrolling ever could. You start to notice what's truly on your mind, what emotions you've carried into a new day, and what part of yourself is asking to be heard. Next, grab a journal or even just a scrap of paper. Write down one thought that keeps circling in your head. Don't overthink it. When you write freely, your subconscious speaks. Maybe you'll uncover a hidden fear, maybe a desire, maybe even a new idea. This small act is like holding up a mirror to your inner self. Then, give your body some attention. Whether it's stretching, yoga, or simply standing tall and breathing deeply, movement reminds you that you are alive and capable. Each stretch is not just physical, it's a way of saying, "I'm ready to grow today." When your body wakes up, your mind follows. Another powerful practice is setting a gentle intention. Not a rigid to-do list, but one sentence that guides you. Something like, "Today I choose patience," or "Today I focus on learning." This single line becomes a compass you carry throughout the day. And when the world gets noisy, you'll have that reminder of what truly matters to you. The morning is also the perfect time for gratitude. Think of 3 simple things you're thankful for. They don't have to be big: your bed, your breath, or even the sunlight coming through your window. Gratitude opens your eyes to the richness of your life and reminds you of who you are beyond stress and responsibilities. And here's something most people overlook: silence. Just a few minutes of sitting without distraction. No music, no screens, no noise. In that silence, your inner voice becomes clearer. You may notice ideas you've been ignoring, dreams you've been postponing, or truths you've been running from. Silence is where self-discovery hides, waiting for you. By the time you've done these simple practices, breathing, journaling, moving, setting an intention, practicing gratitude, and embracing silence, you haven't just created a morning routine. You've created a daily ritual of self-discovery. You've given yourself the chance to wake up not only to the day, but to yourself. So tomorrow morning, before you let the world rush in, give yourself this gift. It's not about being perfect, it's about being present. Each morning becomes a conversation with your soul, and over time, those conversations change everything. Because the truth is, you don't discover yourself in one big moment, you discover yourself in the small choices you make every single day. And it all begins in the morning. And as you move through these little practices, you'll start noticing something subtle but powerful. The way you react to the world begins to shift. That thing that used to stress you out on your commute? Suddenly, it feels lighter because you've already grounded yourself. The small frustrations that once knocked you off balance don't have the same hold on you anymore. It's almost like you've built an invisible shield in the morning that carries through your whole day. You might also begin to notice patterns in your journal. Maybe the same thought keeps showing up, the same worry, or even the same dream. That's not an accident. That's your inner self telling you, pay attention. And the more you honor those patterns, the more you start to understand what you really want, not just what you think you should want. When you give your mornings to yourself, creativity sparks in the most surprising ways. That one line of writing might turn into an idea for a project. That one moment of silence might spark a solution to a problem you've been stuck on for weeks. It's like your mind finally has space to breathe, and in that space, inspiration slips in effortlessly. Even the way you see your surroundings starts to change. The walk to the kitchen, the sound of birds, the warmth of your coffee, suddenly, they aren't just background noise. They feel alive, like reminders that life is happening right now. And that awareness deepens your connection to yourself, because you're not lost in yesterday or tomorrow, you're here. Little by little, mornings stop being something you drag yourself through, and they become something you look forward to. They stop being about alarm clocks and rushing, and they turn into a sacred space that belongs only to you. And the more you protect that space, the more you realize it's not just shaping your day, it's shaping the way you see yourself, the way you trust yourself, the way you grow into who you're meant to be. And as these mornings stack up, one after another, you start to see how consistent attention to yourself creates a different kind of rhythm in your life. The rhythm is slower but stronger, steady but flexible, and you feel less like you're being pulled by the day and more like you're guiding it. That shift in energy is subtle at first, almost invisible, but you can sense it when people start noticing how calm you seem, how clear your thoughts sound, how you respond instead of just reacting. What's fascinating is how even the smallest choice in the morning ripples outward. Choosing to write one line, choosing to stretch for 2 minutes, choosing to drink water before coffee, each choice is like a vote for the kind of person you're becoming. And the more of those choices you make, the more undeniable it becomes that you're not just going through life, you're actually shaping it in real time. There's also a certain confidence that grows when you begin your day this way. It's not the loud kind of confidence that tries to prove something, it's the quiet kind, the one that knows you've already connected with yourself before anyone else had a chance to influence you. That confidence shows up in conversations, in decisions, even in how you carry yourself walking into a room. And mornings can also become a safe place for experimentation. Maybe one day you add a few minutes of meditation, maybe another day you try speaking affirmations out loud, maybe you sketch, maybe you read a single page of a book that makes you think differently. Every variation teaches you something new about what resonates with you, what feels authentic, and what doesn't. You learn that your routine isn't about rigid rules, it's about creating a living practice that grows with you. You'll notice how this practice builds resilience too. Life will still throw challenges at you, but when you've started your morning grounded, those challenges don't shake you as much. You have an anchor. You've already had time with yourself, you've already found your center, and so the storms that used to knock you down become easier to navigate. And maybe the most beautiful part is that mornings slowly shift from something ordinary to something sacred. It becomes this private doorway you walk through every day, where you meet yourself again and again, where you get to ask new questions and find new answers. And every morning you step through that doorway, you feel like you're getting closer, not just to who you are, but to who you're becoming. And as you keep walking into these mornings, you start to notice how time feels different. Minutes that once felt rushed now feel stretched, almost like they're giving you space to breathe, to think, to listen. That space becomes addictive in the best way, because you realize it's the one part of the day where you aren't performing, you aren't reacting, you aren't chasing, you're just being. And in that simple act of being, you uncover layers of yourself that were hidden behind noise for so long. There's something powerful about looking at your reflection in the quiet of the morning, when the world is still asleep. You catch glimpses of who you've been, who you are now, and who you're stepping into. It's not about judgment or pressure, it's about recognition, finally seeing yourself clearly without distraction. And the more mornings you give yourself this gift, the more honest that reflection becomes. You may even notice how your conversations with others shift. Because when you've already checked in with yourself, you show up differently. You listen more deeply, you speak with more intention, and people feel that. It's like your morning practice leaks into every interaction, turning ordinary moments into chances for connection that feel real instead of rushed. The beauty is that there's no perfect formula. Some mornings will be smooth and full of insight, and others will feel messy or distracted. But even on those messy days, the act of showing up for yourself still leaves a mark. It tells your mind and body, you matter, your growth matters, your presence matters. And that message, repeated day after day, becomes unshakable. Slowly, mornings stop being just a routine and turn into a kind of dialogue. You wake up and the first thing you do is ask yourself, not with words but with actions, how are you? What do you need? What's alive in you right now? And every time you ask, you hear a little more clearly. Sometimes it's a whisper, sometimes it's a shout, but either way, it's your truth, waiting to be heard. And that truth is what keeps unfolding each day, in layers you didn't even know existed. And as those truths begin to unfold, they start weaving themselves into the fabric of your everyday life. You notice them when you're walking to work, when you're sitting in traffic, even when you're waiting in line somewhere. The clarity you built in the morning doesn't just stay in the morning, it travels with you, shaping the way you see the world around you. Suddenly, small details you once overlooked become meaningful, almost like life is whispering little reminders that you're on the right path. What's even more surprising is how your energy shifts. Instead of dragging yourself through tasks, you feel lighter, almost fueled by something internal rather than external. That's because you've already taken the time to align with yourself before the world demanded anything from you. And when you live from that alignment, everything flows differently, your choices, your responses, even the way you handle stress. Over time, these mornings become less about routine and more about ritual. They're no longer just steps on a checklist, they're sacred moments you crave. They're where you begin to meet the version of yourself that feels truest, the version that doesn't get buried under responsibilities or expectations. It's in that quiet stretch of time that you remember you are more than what you do, more than what people see. You are someone discovering, unfolding, becoming. And it doesn't stop with you. People around you begin to sense the change, even if they can't explain it. They notice the calm in your presence, the focus in your eyes, the patience in your words. Without even trying, you become a mirror for them, a living example of what it looks like to honor yourself first thing each day. And in their own way, they start reflecting that back to you. The mornings, then, stop being isolated events. They grow roots and branches that stretch into everything else, into your relationships, your work, your creativity, your sense of meaning. Each morning adds another thread to a tapestry that keeps getting richer, more colorful, more alive. And every time you wake up and step into that practice, you realize there's always another layer waiting to be uncovered, another question waiting to be asked, another piece of yourself ready to be found. And as you keep uncovering those layers, something inside you begins to shift in ways that words can't fully capture. It's the kind of shift you feel when you catch yourself smiling for no reason, or when you realize you're handling situations that used to overwhelm you with a kind of ease that feels new. That ease isn't luck, it's the quiet strength that comes from meeting yourself every morning. Each time you return to that space, you notice different details. Maybe one day it's the sound of your breath, steady and grounding. Another day, it's the way light falls through the window, reminding you of possibility. Another, it might be the way your pen glides across paper, showing you thoughts you didn't even know you were carrying. Every morning has its own texture, its own rhythm, and each one reveals something unique if you're willing to pay attention. And as you keep paying attention, you start to recognize that these moments aren't about creating a perfect day. They're about creating a deeper relationship with yourself. Just like any relationship, it grows through consistency, through presence, through small acts that may seem insignificant in the moment but add up over time. That's why even the simplest actions, a stretch, a sip of water, a quiet thought, become powerful when you repeat them with intention. This practice also changes the way you see time itself. Mornings no longer feel like a countdown to rushing out the door. They become a gift you unwrap slowly. Even if it's just a few minutes, that shift in perspective makes the day ahead feel less like an obstacle course and more like a canvas you get to paint on. And with each brushstroke, you see more clearly the colors you want to use, the shapes you want to create, the story you want to tell. And the more you live in that story, the more you realize it's not about finding yourself once and for all. It's about meeting yourself again and again, in new ways, in new seasons, in new mornings. And as you continue showing up for yourself in these quiet, intentional mornings, you begin to realize that this simple practice is not just about starting the day, it's about shaping the life you want to live. Each moment you give to yourself adds up, building a version of you that feels clearer, calmer, and more connected. And the best part is, it's always waiting for you again tomorrow. If this inspired you to rethink your mornings and discover more about yourself every day, make sure to like this video, share it with someone who could use a little morning clarity, and subscribe so you don't miss the next time we dive even deeper into practices that help you grow.